Welcome to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined, with your host, the one and only Betsy Tinnervin. On this podcast, we bring you people who share their personal journeys in life, business, and of course, real estate. Get motivated, inspired, and priceless information from entrepreneurs, community leaders, and realtors who are thriving. Now let's get raw and real. Here's Betsy.
Welcome to the LPT All-Star Realty Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin, the raw and the real of real estate. I have two phenomenal guests here today, and they are definitely going to make fun of me because I am not a bilingual agent, and I should be because I'm selling real estate in Florida. But I have the one and only Miss Victoria. And can you pronounce your last name for me?
Ruiz.
See what I mean? Like, she sounds so much cooler than me. Like, I just suck. So she actually is a Spanish teacher of trade, correct, Miss Victoria?
I am. Over a decade of teaching Spanish and dance, too.
And how did you get into teaching Spanish?
It happened to me.
It happened to you?
You know, life is all about who you know, not what you know, okay? So I knew somebody, a principal, who needed a Spanish teacher, and I had finished my degree in Spanish, not teaching, but Spanish. And he said, I'll help you get certified if you come work for me, and it happened to me.
So how easy was it to learn Spanish?
Not easy at all, and I'm still learning because there's so many different ways to say things that I don't know, like so many different ways to communicate in Spanish. So how one country might say something, they'll say it differently in another country. So
I know there's like
constantly.
Spanglish too, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you go into teaching Spanish and then you decide you're going to transition into selling real estate.
Yes. Earlier this year, I started the online school in January and teaching and, you know, still being a student myself and taking dance classes. I also added on there the real estate school. So I finished that over the summer and got licensed in July and got hooked up with you, Betsy.
And later in the show, we're going to talk about a recent experience that Victoria has, so you don't want to miss that. My other awesome guest today is Mr. Juan
Echeverry.
Do you see what I mean? Say that one more time, Juan.
Echeverry.
And where is your last name from? Describe you, who are you, and what do you do?
So basically, I guess my last name comes from Spain.
Okay.
And Colombia. It's very common in Colombia. I'm a realtor for about 3 years.
Okay.
I came to this country for about, it was 6 years ago.
Okay.
And I didn't speak English. I just have to learn the process.
So you learned English on your own?
Yeah.
And how did you learn to speak English?
Basically, I started working in Sam's. So
okay, in Sam's Club.
All my coworkers there speak English, so I have to learn.
So explain when you're working there and you know nothing that anyone is saying around you, what that experience is like.
Terrifying.
Terrifying?
It was difficult because when I just went to the interview, my bosses were English, American, and I didn't understand anything. But for any reason, I just got the jobs.
So did you just say yes to everything?
Yes, basically.
That is like the infamous answer is yes, see. So I wanted to have this show with both of you guys on here. And what's crazy for all the listeners out there, they never know who they're on the show with. And I kind of pick people that I feel like would be interesting. And I picked both of you knowing that you had to learn English. And Miss Victoria, you had to learn Spanish. And so what makes both of you valuable assets in the real estate business is that you are there to service your customers, and they don't have to be terrified, Juan and Victoria. They don't have to feel like they're buying their home for the first time or they're buying their first investment property and they really don't understand someone like myself. So what's crazy is people always look at years in this industry, and this is a relation-based business. So if someone came to me and they were Spanish speaking, I would honestly refer them out to one of you because you can relate to them in a trust and likable manner to help them walk through the process and understand. And so why do you think it's really important, Victoria, in the real estate world when it comes to contracts and all those things, that someone that is requesting, a bilingual agent, or maybe doesn't request but speaks Spanish, can have all those contractual documents broken down in their language?
It is just that feeling of home. There's no place like home. So if Spanish is where you're comfortable, that's where you want to be comfortable in all aspects of life. So dealing with your contract, dealing with your home. And even though I'm not a native Spanish speaker, everyone I've ever spoken to has complimented me on my Spanish, and it's more of an appreciation, like you took the time to learn how to talk to us. So it's definitely a comfortability thing.
I know. I get voted like 0 for using Google Translate, right? Like I do all these rehab projects and I show up, and Alfredo and Pablo and all the guys. But what's cool for them is they can talk about me. So they can talk about me in their language and I have no idea what they're saying. So I tell them all the time, I know you guys are talking about me. And Juan, what do you think is important just from where you came from and not knowing, coming over into a totally different entire country, learning the culture, learning the language? Why do you think it's important for you to be able to work with clients that are also Spanish speaking and help them through the process?
So basically, most of my clients are Spanish speakers. So a lot of them come from Colombia or from another Latin country that they don't speak English. And basically, I have to be like the bridge between both languages to get this deal done and try to have the best service from them.
And then do you also have Spanish-speaking vendors? Like, do you work with a lender that speaks Spanish and an inspector that speaks Spanish? Do you have that whole kind of team set up?
Yeah, actually, yes. I have my 2 preference lenders that they have some partners speak Spanish too. Same thing with the inspectors. My inspectors speak both languages, so that's make things easier.
For sure. So if anyone out there wants a Spanish-speaking realtor, definitely Victoria and Juan are 2 people to work with. They have the entire team behind them that can help you through the lending process, that can help you through the process of a home inspection, and actually be able to communicate in a fashion that everyone feels comfortable. What do you like about real estate, Victoria?
The getting to go in and see all the different trends that are happening in homes, and honestly, like the bloopers, like what were they thinking?
Oh, for sure.
We toured a home with a master bedroom with a sink next to the bed.
Oh, yeah. And they actually used to have carpet at one point in time.
Oh, my goodness.
And so, yeah, it is interesting to see all the trends in real estate. I think right now, since we're in such a apex market in Florida and we're in such a seller's market, that in reality, people are just not making repairs. They know the value of the land. They know the value of having real estate in Florida. Like, supply and demand speaks for itself. So as we all know in Florida, prior to being a seller's market, for all the listeners out there, we were already appreciating. Sellers' homes prices were already rising, and then rents were already rising as well. Now it has obviously maximized that. So I agree. There is some definite trends throughout the years and history of real estate that are interesting to watch. Juan, what do you like about real estate?
Everything. So see the faces of the clients at the end of the deal when they just got the home that they ring off, and that's amazing. And the other thing is the time management, so you can do wherever you want. You just need a schedule so you can be at your family or have some meetings with clients. So that's awesome.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that what's really cool about real estate is, I came from the criminal justice space and was in the substance abuse counseling space and being a probation officer and all those things in Illinois. And I think what was cool for me is just figuring out that I could have financial freedom for my family through real estate, but that I could still do the passion of like helping people. Mm-hmm. And my niche is obviously in investments. I'm not super, great on the warm and fuzzy of the residential side, but my team is, and we do have agents within our brokerage of LPTs such as Victoria and Juan that can help you with that. Well, today we are talking the raw and real of real estate, but we're also talking about all things Spanish. And so we're going to get into some questions that Juan and Victoria don't even know that I'm going to ask.
Oh, no.
And we're going to do a little trivia session. It's going to be exciting. All of our listeners out there, just so you know, we try to bring you all the information in a raw and real fashion. Not everything in the real estate world is great and financially, awesome. And these agents do really try to provide the best in the business and the best customer service out there. So I want everyone to know, Miss Victoria, how could anyone get a hold of you if they are interested in purchasing real estate?
VictoriaRuiz.re@gmail.com or my phone number 757-477-3976.
And Juan, this information is not for the ladies, it's to get clients, but could you provide your digits for everyone out there?
So they can call me to 813-995-1835. Actually, we have our office in Causeway, 6735 Causeway Boulevard, Tampa, Florida, 33619.
And they can find you there.
They can find
Do
me
you
there.
work 7 days a week, Juan?
Just 5 at the office and 2
But you do work at
outside.
home.
Yeah.
You're a hustler.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure. Well, we're going to take a commercial break and make sure that all of these lovely bills are getting paid. We want to thank LPT Realty for sponsoring our show, Mr. Robert Palmer, all the great things that are provided by LPT, our brokerage. We couldn't do it without them. So download the iHeartRadio app, and we will catch you after the break.
Have the best comp plans ever and stock and revenue share, but if we're not closing real estate transactions, all of that is worthless, because ultimately everything starts with a real estate transaction, which starts with a consumer. And so we wanted to arm our agents with the absolute best technology and best marketing tools to do more real estate. And that's, again, I think a big differentiator. I think very few brokerages really sit down and say, how do we provide tools to make sure that our agents can be more productive, sell more real estate, win more listings, win at more listing appointments, help more buyers find that home, and we're very focused on that. And so while we have the best comp plans and the best ways for agents to generate wealth and earn, we also have the best tools, and more importantly, I would say have the best tools to help you be successful in real estate.
Welcome back to the LPT All-Star Realty Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinervin, and I left out an entire secret. If you were here for segment 1, lovely Queen Victoria and awesome Juan, but we have a special guest here today. We always try to bring in somebody from the community, a local business, but we have actually brought in the one and only Mr. Kevin. And how do you say your last name, Kevin?
Ruiz.
And he is actually Victoria's husband. We have brought him on the show today to just talk about being a VA buyer, because you are a veteran, correct, Kevin?
That's correct.
And what exactly do you do here in Tampa? Like, what is your profession?
So I work at MacDill Air Force Base. I'm a security manager there for SOCOM.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so for everyone out there that knows, Tampa is the hub for the Air Force Base. And it's really awesome for us to get to see and work with all of the military personnel there. And with my team specifically, and I know the agents on our show, we are providing free home warranties. We provide you with the resources, the lenders, etc., to get in connection and understand. So if you are a military personnel and you are looking for a VA loan, why is it so critical, Victoria, to connect these clients with the right people?
It's important that you connect them with somebody who knows the type of services and benefits that are open to them. Just talking to my lender last night, he knew somebody for over a decade who had a 100% disability award letter and wasn't receiving his tax deduction. And the man didn't even know that was open to him. So it's important that you connect with people that know what's going on out there in the industry so that they can provide the benefits to you or make you aware of them.
I think honestly, and like Kevin, you give me your perception, but it's not really explained to you when you're in the military what you can fully do with your VA benefits when it comes to real estate, correct?
Absolutely.
And so are there things throughout this process of you and Victoria getting this home under contract and using your VA loan that you have learned?
Yeah. Actually, that's one of them.
Yeah. And so did you know that you could use your VA loan multiple times?
I did not know that.
And did you find that out now?
I did.
That's awesome. Juan, what's your experience with working with VA buyers?
So actually, I haven't worked with buyers, with VA buyers. I specialize in investors and.
We're going to talk about that. So don't give away all your golden nuggets. But yeah, so this could be potentially like educational for you too. So Kevin, what was the biggest wow moment in being a VA buyer, going through this process with your wife, talking to the lender and finding a home? Like, what is like the biggest takeaway for you?
The biggest takeaway, especially as a veteran, is knowing all the benefits we have, especially within getting a loan. For example, 100% disabled, you get the tax deducted. So there was multiple things that I was like, wow, this is pretty amazing.
The Hometown Heroes discount?
Yeah, Victoria, go into that for sure.
So I wasn't aware of it either. I'm a teacher. He's a military veteran, Marines.
Raw.
That's right. So we weren't even aware of it until we spoke with our lender that both of our statuses gives us pretty much like a 5% down payment option on a home. So, yeah.
And for everyone out there, Victoria does work with Embrace Home Loans, and they do offer the Hometown Hero program. And so it covers hundreds of like professions, like from paramedics to nurses to like name a couple other ones, Victoria.
We got EMT, paramedics, nurses, teachers,
I mean, there's stuff
veterans,
on there that
active duty.
When I saw the list, I was like, I wouldn't have thought that would have been considered, because really before it was really like police, military, like 4 or 5 categories, and they've opened that up tremendously.
Yes.
So what is the credit that you get with that program, Victoria?
So since we are getting the VA loan, that's automatically 0% down payment. If you're a veteran and don't know that, you get a 0% option if you go with a VA loan. You do not have to provide a down payment. Additionally, the Hometown Heroes, if you are not a veteran and not going with a VA loan, but maybe you're a police officer or teacher, that program allows you 5% down for your down payment. It gives you a 5% option for your down payment. Now, if you're a veteran, you don't need that down payment. They'll take that 5% and apply it towards the principal of your loan.
Well, and so that's really cool, because I know that we were discussing this with Kevin and you, and we were actually at salsa class.
Yes.
So for all the listeners out there, Kevin and Victoria thought it'd be a good idea to put Betsy in a salsa class, which I was a dance teacher for 15 years. Everyone back home, I got tons of views on that video, by the way. Like, oh my God, Betsy's back in the studio. It was a great time. Victoria allows people to borrow her husband as a dance partner, so she's so generous in that aspect. And then she also teaches people. I want to talk about that really quick while we're on that, just because that's how the three of us met. What is the studio name?
DMSA, Dance and Motion School of the Arts.
And there's a huge event coming up with DMSA, correct?
Yes. The end of October 27th through the 30th, there will be a big Halloween costume party. It is a festival, a dance festival. So if you're not familiar with festivals or congresses, it's a weekend, sometimes even longer event. There's workshop classes every hour, all day throughout the day. There's pool parties. There's nighttime social dancing.
And it's all about dance.
It's all about dance, yes. And it's this... A lot of them are Latin dance, salsa, bachata, but this one we're going all dance. So we're also going to have contemporary cha-cha-cha. We're going to have West African dance, some hip-hop, kizomba. So there's something out there for everybody. And also, if you don't have any dance experience, they're doing an additional workshop for those who want a crash course in salsa.
And also, Kevin, I believe that there's shows. So, like, if you don't want to come take class, you can watch the shows, right?
That's correct. The shows are amazing. I mean, Victoria and I went to our first Congress when we were level 1 salsa students, not knowing a single thing.
Yeah.
So we're like, you know what, let's give this a shot. And it was actually a great experience. The workshops are for every level. And like Betsy said, if you're not there for the workshops, the shows are amazing.
And so, Juan, what do you think about salsa class, kid?
I had to take some classes before.
You have to take. You have taken classes before.
Yeah.
And did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice.
It is. You have to check out
Colombia.
their dance studio, because it is like so cool. So if anyone wants tickets, Victoria, can you just give your phone number out really quick for that?
Yes, my phone number is 757-477-3976. You can also go to justdancefest.com. You're going to see if you come, you will see some world champion dancers.
Yeah, they're flying people in
times.
from Chicago, New York,
Puerto Rico.
Yeah, it's going to be so awesome. Juan, you better come.
I have to.
It's going to be so fun. So back to this experience, we're going to get into segment 3 with Juan and some investment stuff. But right now we're going to stick with everyone out there just educating you on Tampa has so many military personnel working here, right? Like, Kevin, do you know how many people actually work at MacDill? Like, just a rough estimate?
It's a pretty big base.
For sure. It's in comparison to other bases. How does MacDill compare? Because I heard it's like one of the biggest, right?
Not one of the biggest,
Okay.
but it's definitely up there. I mean,
Okay.
it's what our main fuel refueler station for the Air Force. So
Okay.
it takes care of the eastern side of the country. So
And you've been a Marine.
yeah, I was a Marine for 8 years.
Okay. And why Marine Corps? Why'd you get into the military?
It was something I always wanted to do since I was a kid. I remember when I was young, when I was younger, the first thing I wanted for my birthday was one of those little Power Wheel tanks. So I was really into the military, Rambo, all those things. And then when I finally got to high school, I moved from Puerto Rico here in 10th grade. I saw they had an ROTC program, went ahead and joined that, and from there it was history.
Well, we thank you for your service for
I
sure.
appreciate it. Thank
so
you.
you did 8 years active.
I did.
Okay, cool. And now you're in the reserves working at the base.
Yes, well, not in the reserves.
Okay.
I'm a government civilian at the base.
Okay, a government civilian. See, I love when they check me on this show. Like, Betsy, I'm not in the reserves. I'm a government civilian. Victoria, write that down so I know what to say next time, Juan. No, that's awesome. I'm really excited to have you here with Victoria and Juan, just because obviously, clearly, you also speak Spanish.
See.
Yes. And so I know that we were also discussing where you're originally from and where your family's from, and where is that?
Puerto Rico.
Okay. And so we have Colombian, Puerto Rican, Victoria, who learned Spanish, became a Spanish teacher, and then married an amazing Puerto Rican man and got a cool last name.
That's right.
That's how that went down. And then we have me that just speaks English and knows about real estate. So I think what's cool about this show is that we obviously bring people together via culture, via collaboration, coming from all different parts. Mr. Juan, how could we get a hold of you if someone wants to contact you in regards to investing in real estate? What's your number?
813-995-1835.
And Mr. Kevin, if there is a veteran out there who wants to know information about your experience with a VA loan, how could they contact you?
Yep. My phone number is 407-376-7341. Feel free to text me, call me at any time, and I'll be happy to connect you with Victoria.
Yeah, Miss Victoria. What's your number?
757-477-3976. Do you want them in Spanish?
Yes, go.
Okay. So, en español, mi número es 757-477-3976.
Now you say yours, Juan, so I can compare.
So, okay, my phone number in Spanish is 813-995-1835.
And everyone, we're going to take a commercial break, download the iHeartRadio app, and we will catch you in a moment.
The biggest win, I think, with the dual path and having these two models is that now we become a brokerage for everyone. No matter where you are in your real estate career, what your goals are today, maybe today you're not interested in recruiting or having a team, but then one day you wake up and you are. Well, if you're at the wrong brokerage to do that, you're locked in. Where in our model, we're not holding anyone hostage. We're not tying anyone in. You can move between the different comp plans and have that success and really achieve whatever your definition of success is under one brokerage platform, being LPT.
Welcome back to the LPT Realty All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. I have some amazing people on the show today. One of the reasons why I moved from Illinois to Florida was because I have a multicultural family, and Florida is genuinely a melting pot. I think what's really cool about being in Florida is that you can come from anywhere, and it's not a clique-based state. It's like a melting pot and just a collaboration of culture, different people, and everyone is really accepted and welcomed. So I have some amazing guests today. I have Miss Victoria, who is a Spanish teacher by trade, and then she got into the real estate business. She also dances salsa and is a dance instructor. I have Mr. Kevin, who happens to be her husband. He is a military veteran, and he is a government civilian. Is that correct, Kevin?
That's correct.
On the MacDill Air Force Base. He was in the Marine Corps, active duty 8 years, just is under contract on his first VA purchase of his home. And I have Mr. Juan, and say your last name, Juan.
Echeverry.
And he actually has a whole new drip and vibe to add to the LPT fam, because he is actually working with some foreign investors, correct, Juan?
Yeah, foreign national investors.
And where exactly do majority of them kind of contact you from?
So basically, a lot of them are Colombian.
Okay.
Colombia is, I think, is the first country in investment, first Latin country investment right now.
Okay. And so you feel like there is your connection, is it primarily like people that you know from where you're from?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And explain that to me. Like, where are you from in Colombia? What it's like to buy real estate there versus buying real estate here? Like, why do people want to invest in Florida?
Okay, basically, I'm from Colombia. I'm from a little city just in the central of the country, Pereira.
Okay.
And a lot of people, because of the situation of the country and the new president, they don't like what is going on right now. So they just want to sell their properties there and bring the money here because they feel security.
Here in the United States.
Yeah.
Okay. And are they primarily buying like investments over here? Or are they trying to like buy and then kind of like relocate?
They basically just bring the money, buy properties, and keep the properties here as an savings account or something. Okay.
Very similar. As kind of passive income for their family.
Yeah, passive income. Because
Perfect.
Right now the Colombian pesos are very devalued. So
so their currency is kind of devalued. Mm-hmm. So they're looking to invest over in the U.S., which helps them create passive income for their family.
Exactly.
And as far as like the transfer of like foreign funds, how does that work out for a foreign investor if they're interested in investing here?
So it depends on if they want to use a mortgage or they want a loan. They have to transfer their money from their account to an account here in United States. So they need an account here. So that is one of the requirements. The other one, they need a tourist visa.
Okay.
At least. And all depends, the down payment all depends of the lender. One requirements maybe 20%, the other one's 35%. So it depends.
For sure.
Yeah, it all depends.
And so you walk them from point A to point B in that process.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's helpful because you're actually from there. So you understand, you have connections there. And so you walk them through the process of not only finding the property here, vetting that property out, but then connecting them with the right resources to make sure that they can transfer their currency from Colombia to the United States.
Exactly.
So do you think you're a superstar, Juan?
I'm working on it.
Yes, I do. I think that's really cool that not only are you helping people that you're familiar with, one, I think it's really cool that in like 6 years' time that you speak fluent English.
I'm trying. There are a lot of words that I don't know how to pronounce because it's a little difficult. So,
what do you think, Victoria? How do you rate Juan's English? I think that's pretty good for teaching himself.
No, yeah, I think that's great. And I told you, Betsy, you asked me if I could teach you Spanish. And I said, honestly, the best way to learn is to move there and just force it.
So Victoria's trying to kick me out and tells me, hey, go somewhere where they speak Spanish and learn. So we are going to do a little quiz here. Right.
Oh.
And so we're going to do some Spanish speaking exercises here and then English speaking. So Victoria, you are going to quiz Juan with saying something in English. And then you are going to quiz Victoria in saying something in Spanish. That has to be real estate related. Okay. So ask Juan to explain a process in English that has to do with real estate. You ask, look at Juan is cracking up. I wish everyone could see him in person right now. And then Juan is going to ask you to do it in Spanish. And then Kevin is going to vote on who explained it better in the different language. So for all the listeners out there that speak English or Spanish, you're now going to get a real treat. So I'm going to give you a second. Victoria, you're going to ask him to explain a process first in Spanish. What would you like him to explain in real estate? Something that has to do with real estate. You can pick an inspection process, a contract process, a purchase process, anything you want. Make sure you give him something good.
Home warranty?
Okay, so explain what a home warranty is, Mr. Juan, in English.
So basically, the home warranty is an insurance that protects your home for about 1 or 2 years after the purchase. And it depends. There are a lot of options when you buy our home warranty.
Okay, so all of that is correct, but we can't use the word insurance. But that's true. He did pretty good. Now ask Miss Victoria a quiz question about real estate that she has to respond in Spanish.
So I have to say in Spanish too.
No. Oh, you say it in Spanish.
You want me to say in Spanish?
Okay.
Explícame el proceso de compra para un cliente.
De compra, ok. Primero, ustedes tienen que recibir ¿cómo se dice? Un preaprobación. ¿Sí? No sé. Primero, antes de comprar o cuando piensas que quieres comprar una casa, primero preaprobación. Y luego podemos ir a ver unas casas y luego ofrecemos, oh my goodness, I'm nervous.
That's so good.
No worries, I feel the same way.
Ofrecemos y la compra. Yeah.
So what did you ask her, Juan?
So the purchase process.
The purchase process.
Yeah.
And what did you explain to him, Victoria?
The first, we need some sort of pre-approval that you're even going to be able to buy. And then we can start showing you houses, and then we'll make an offer.
Dude, I thought that was really good. Kevin, I thought that was good.
I thought that was great.
Good.
I thought that both did a great job.
Yes, they did.
Like learning different languages and people. How much do you see on the Air Force Base, Kevin, of people speaking all different types of languages?
Oh, on a daily basis.
And what are different languages that you primarily hear besides English and Spanish even? I feel
Arabic.
Arabic is a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then I feel like there's a lot of like German.
German.
German is a lot. Arabic is a lot. So primarily on the MacDill Air Force Base, how many people are actually from Florida?
I say maybe 20%.
Exactly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And so 80% of those people come from everywhere and then
yes.
they're stationed here,
Absolutely.
correct?
Yep.
And so I think that's what makes our state awesome and amazing and great to purchase real estate in and just live in, period, is that all these different things are accepted. They're culturally accepted. Everyone here can like blend together, have good conversations, and it's a really great place to raise a family. What do you think, Miss Victoria?
I absolutely agree. That's why I moved to Florida, honestly. I came here, Tampa Bay. I've been to Florida plenty of times, but Tampa Bay, I came to visit here 3 times. And finally, on the 3rd time, I found a job on Craigslist and moved 2 weeks later. Tampa Bay is awesome. There is something to do here all the time.
Yeah.
110%. Mr. Juan, if someone wants to get a hold of you, can you give everyone your digits in English and Spanish, please?
So English, my number is 813-995-1835. In Spanish is 813-995-1835.
And Mr. Kevin, if someone wants to talk to you about possibly getting into the military, also just going through the VA loan process, what it's like to be here as a government contracted employee after serving 8 years in the Marine Corps, how could they get in touch with you?
Yep. You can call my phone number or text me at 407-376-7341.
And Miss Victoria, if it's salsa class, if it's learning Spanish, or if it's buying, selling, or investing in a property, what is your best contact information?
Call or text 757-477-3976 or in Espanol 757-477-3976.
I love it how Juan smiles when you say that. Why are you smiling, Juan? Because she does good?
Because, no, she has a good accent.
She has a good accent?
Yeah.
Oh, Victoria, that's so great. And you were nervous. I can't thank you guys enough. We have one more segment. All the listeners today that have been listening to our show, do not miss our final segment of today. We have talked about so many great things, from VA loans to being bilingual to foreign investors. The information is priceless. Don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app today, and we will see you after the break. Welcome back to the LPT Realty All-Star Radio Show. I am your host, Betsy Tinnervin. I have three amazing guests here today. We're going to dive a little deeper into the VA loan process, and I really want to get the perception of just Kevin and the experience with his wife, Victoria, who also is an agent and represented them on the transaction. We also have Mr. Juan here, who dabbled a little bit in foreign investments within Florida. And I also want to touch base on that with him as well. We've given you priceless information today, and this is our final segment. So make sure you listen up, because we have all the raw and the real of real estate. Miss Victoria, I think on the break, we were talking with Kevin, your amazing husband, on just reusing your VA loan. And Kevin, it is my understanding that there's no limits on your VA loan use, but it's really your entitlement. So basically the best takeaway is that as long as you're eligible and you're able to qualify with the lender, there's no limit on how many times you can use your VA loan.
That's great information. And another thing I learned today. Look at that.
And so I think that what they do is they figure out your eligibility, and just like you were touching on, Victoria, probably how long you've been in service, and do you have a disability and all these other different things. They take your overall eligibility and then they kind of distribute that, since you're doing zero money down, over the type of the purchase. And if anyone wants more information about that, you can definitely contact Victoria or Kevin, and they will get you in touch with the proper lender. But I also know you were talking to about a buddy, and obviously there is requirements such as you may have to make it a primary residence, etc., who has purchased other properties. I've had people purchase with an FHA or VA loan, like a duplex, and live in one side, and then their mortgage is paid for because they're generating revenue from the other side, which is pretty cool. What do you think about that, Kevin?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, it's going well for my buddy. Like I was saying during the break, I think, I'm not sure, maybe you can answer this question. Can you have the VA loan for two properties?
I do think that you have to have the VA loan as a primary, but I think you can reuse the loan multiple times. So I'm not really sure exactly how they structure that, but I know that a lot of people think the VA loan is a once and done product, and it's not. So I know that the best way to fact check even our information is speaking direct with the lender and then getting your eligibility certificate. Right. I believe when you got pre-qualified, you have to provide a certificate, right, Kevin?
Yes.
And what does that certificate kind of explain to the lender?
So it says that you were actually in the military. It's called a DD-214. We have to submit that, and it shows your time in service. It's basically proof that you did actually serve. And if you're disabled, you have to prove or submit a proof of eligibility.
Perfect.
For disability.
And then the lender kind of walks you through that process. Correct. And helps you do all of that. And so another cool thing that I can tell everybody out there, that even agents wise, like when I structure a VA or an FHA loan, and we were discussing this at salsa class, I usually will go a little over ask and request some credit at closing, because although you have zero money down on the actual purchase, you still have closing costs. So if you're looking at, for instance, a purchase of $350, and we'll do a quick math. If you do $350 and you guesstimate about 2% in closing costs, that's about $7,000. So, if you gave an offer of $360 with a $10,000 credit, then you actually have zero money down, you get your closing costs covered, and you may even get a check at closing. How cool is that, Victoria?
Yeah, I wish we would have known that when we put in our offer. Yes.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet to be able to help veterans and stuff out. So I think that that's amazing, awesome. Again, we do want to thank you for your service, Kevin. And again, anyone looking to work with a VA-friendly agent who knows it firsthand due to her husband should definitely contact Miss Victoria. And Mr. Juan, we touched a little bit on foreign investors and how you work with them personally, but I want to dig like a little deeper because I feel like this business is very like relationship based. What was it like for you moving from Colombia 6 years ago to the United States?
It was a pretty tough process because actually I don't have family here, so all my family is in Colombia. So it was a little bit tough in that time. But right now, you just get used to it. United States, amazing country, so you just love it.
And so just one day you just wake up in Colombia and go, I'm moving to the U.S.
Yeah. Yeah, it was basically like that. The story is a little bit longer.
I did not expect that to be his answer, dude. That was like phenomenal. So sad I didn't get that on video. So you're just chilling in Colombia, and one day you just wake up and you go, moving to the U.S. today.
No, basically I just graduated from a veterinary school in Colombia, and once just finished there, I just decided to come here and try to get a better life here.
Okay. So explain that school that you talked about, because that was like word vomit to me. So rewind. You were in Colombia and you were going to what type of school?
Veterinarian.
Okay. And what does that mean?
So I'm veterinarian.
Okay. Veterinarian.
In Colombia.
Okay. And you decided to graduate high school and then just become a veterinarian?
Yep.
Okay.
And after that, I just think about maybe come here in United States and know how is the place. But one day you just decide to stay because this is an amazing
So did
country.
you know anyone here?
No.
Not a soul?
I have a couple friends.
Now?
No, but that time.
At that time. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So you come over here to the U.S. and again, you speak no English.
No.
And so you
Not
said, I'm done being a veterinarian. I'm going to the U.S. and I'm going to hope this is going to work out. And then you start learning to speak English and you start learning the whole different culture.
Yep, basically.
What was the biggest culture shock?
The language.
The language.
The language. It was very difficult because it's not only speaking, it's listening. Because when you get here and you don't speak English, you don't understand anything.
Right.
So when people just talking to you, just say yes because you don't
I love that,
you don't
Victoria.
know anything about it.
Juan, that made you really good friends with the ladies, though. If all you said was yes.
Not everything, but almost.
Almost everything. Yes, sure, fine. Victoria, do you find that that's difficult too? Is not only speaking but listening to the other language?
Oh, absolutely. So I studied abroad in Mexico, so I can understand the Mexican accent. I can understand that really well. Before I met my husband from Puerto Rico, like, do not put me in a room with someone from an island because I'm not going to understand them speaking Spanish.
It is fast, isn't it, Juan? Like when I'm talking English, it's like fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then when people are speaking Spanish, it's like fast. I feel like that's my hardest part. Like I'll pick up little things in Spanish. Like poquito, is that little? Did I say that
Yeah,
right?
that's little, but it depends
So
on the
how do
country.
I say it though, Juan?
Poquito.
Poquito, is that
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
Poquito.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
know
good.
that a little bit because that's what I say. Like, do you speak Spanish?
Poquito.
That's all I know. So yeah, I think that that's crazy, and I think that it's a great story. So you're here, you take the job at Sam's, you start learning English. How do you get into real estate?
I had a business in Orlando, and one of my partners is a real estate agent, and he just told me, "Hey, this could be a good fit for you, and maybe can improve a lot of things."
And so then you had to take the real estate class.
Yeah, I just
And
did
that
it in
was in
Spanish.
English?
No, that was in Spanish.
Oh, it was in Spanish.
That
Okay,
was in
cool,
Spanish,
cool,
but
cool.
the exam, the test was in English. So I had
And how difficult was that?
a lot of, but I just passed at the first chance.
First chance you passed. You're such a champion, Juan. I think what's really important about the real estate business is that it really is about knowing, liking, and trusting people. I think teaching real estate is the easy part. You can teach a lot of people how to write a contract. You can teach a lot of people how to do those things. And I think what the most important part of my show today is the people that are on my show. I think that Victoria's story, just about teaching, donating her time, really educating people on how to speak Spanish, knowing that she primarily spoke English, is phenomenal. I know that she dedicates a lot of time to her dance studio and teaches and dedicates her time letting people express themselves through music. Kevin has donated 8 years of his life to serving our country and being in the Marine Corps, and now is still a government-based employee, Kevin, on the military base, which I think is really cool. And Juan's story, you know, coming over to this country and learning how to speak English, and after he already had a career and a profession, adapting to the culture here, and now teaching other agents how to sell real estate, you know, learning English, and even just hearing about how he had to take an entire class in Spanish and then pass a test in English. I can't thank all three of you enough for being here today. There's some of my shows that are tons of information and tons of content, but there's other ones of my shows that I feel like are more emotional based and people based. And today I couldn't have asked for three better people to be here. And so I appreciate every single bit of advice and stories that you guys have shared. Not everything is always business oriented, but it's more about just getting to know people. And Victoria, how could someone get a hold of you in English and Spanish? Rattle off that number.
Yes, my phone number is 757-477-3976. You can call or text, or in español, 757-477-3976.
And Kevin, what's your number?
I love when she speaks Spanish. My number is 407-376-7341.
Anything in regards to the military or the VA loan, definitely contact Kevin for a firsthand experience. Juan, what are those digits in English and Spanish?
813-995-1835. In Spanish is 813-995-1835.
Thank you to all of our listeners. Download the iHeartRadio app, and we will catch you on our next show.
Thanks for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast, powered by LPT Realty, Real Estate Reimagined. We hope this episode motivated and inspired you. And don't forget to rate and review us. Thanks again for listening to the Raw and Real of Real Estate podcast with Betsy Tinervin.